How do these and find it? Yeah. Okay, great. We're gonna do the same, but we're sticking with it. That makes sense. Sure fits well. No room. I'm like, where is it?
Give us a break. Give us a break and thank you. You're nervous. Look, the rabbi should be so lucky that people are that concerned about their food.
All right. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
Well, this is very special. This is really, and this brings me back actually to some of my earliest moments in this space, when it felt a little bit more distant, a little bit more alien to me, but it was made to feel like home by the people sitting so humbly right here. This incredible family, Rabbi Leon Morris, Dasi Berkowitz, Tamir, Yael, Shabbat. On behalf of all of us, our whole community, welcome home. We are so happy to have you. We are so happy to hear from you, all the things that you have to share with us this weekend. And we are so blessed to have you connected in the deepest possible way to all of us here and to the very essence of the room that we are sitting in. So I'm not going to take up too much of our time tonight, but as I was recalling, when we were looking at jobs, Lou and I, and we were interviewing all the various places, and we had gone to many of those other places before we had come here. And needless to say, the approach of the other search committees was a little bit more probing in its nature, a little bit more intense. It felt like we were under fire everywhere that we went in some form or the other. And then we came here. And our first real experience was at the Shabbat table on 12 Liberty Street, just down the street. And I remember thinking to myself, first of all, how calm Leon looked, and how absolutely terrified I was. And I wasn't even really doing anything that night. And it reminded me really again of where I was hoping to get to at some point, but it was a dream at that point. But I remember how calm the house was, and how loving, how embracing the two of you were to us, and how your whole family was to Lou and I. And when you welcomed us into this place all those years ago, to be here today and to welcome you home is very special. So I wish all of you, especially a Shabbat Shalom, and all of us a Shabbat Shalom. And I'm very happy and very honored that I can welcome up Dasi, and I think Yael and Shalva maybe will help us to light and bless our Shabbat candles. It's on page 120 in your Sidurim. Again, page 120. And
Got one.
She'll be the first one to get it.
מלך העולם אשר קידשנו במצוותיו וציוונו להדליק נר של שבת קודש.
Amen.
it's beautiful. We'll turn to page
636.
636, Yedid Nefesh.
Yedid Nefesh Av Harachama V'shochatecha El Ritzonecha Yarutz Abdecha Kimo Haya Yishachaveh El Mul Hatarecha Yerablo Yedidutecha Minofetzu B'chol Tam Adonai Ziv Haolam Nafshi Cholat Avecha Ana Elna Refana La Beharot Lach Noam Zivach Az Titchazeh V'titrapeh V'haitalach Simchat Olam Yedai-dai-dai-dai 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 Yedai-dai-dai-dai
We'll turn now to page 130 to begin Kabbalat Shabbat together at the very top of the page.
Fanav b'toda, b'toda, b'zmirot nariya lo, nariya lo. Lechu neranena, yai, 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 l'Adonai, yai, 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 yai. V'tzur yishe Yai, 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 yai.
We'll turn now to page 131, Shiru Ladonai. Shiru Ladonai? Yismachu?
Yismachu.
Yismachu, towards the bottom of the page.
Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Umelo'o. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Umelo'o. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz.
We'll turn now to page 132, Or Zarua, towards the very bottom of the page.
Or Zarua, Latzadik, L'yishelev simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, L'yishelev simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, L'yishelev simcha. L'yishelev simcha. Or Zarua, Latzadik, L'yishelev simcha. L'yishelev simcha. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la ya la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la ya la.
We'll turn now to page 134, Zamru Ladonai, at the very top of the page.
Zamru Ladonai bechinor, bechinor v'kol zimra, v'chatzotzrot v'kol shofar, haril lifnei hamelech Adonai, Yiram hayam ulo, tevel v'yoshvei להרות עמך וכף יחד הרים ירננו לפני אדוני קיווה לשפוט הארץ לשפוט תבל וצדק ועמים ומשרים. Let's hear you. Yiram. Yiram hayam umlo tevel veyoshveva neharot imcha uchaf yachad harim yiranenu.
We're now on page 135, Romamu, which is the last Hebrew paragraph, just in the middle of the page.
Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Shom Romemu Adonai Eloheinu Ve'ishtachavu Le'har Kodsho.
We'll turn now to page 138, Lecha Dodi, beginning at the very top of the page.
Lecha Dodi likat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibur echad Yishmi anu el hamiyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemu l'tiferet ve'litila Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki hi mekor haberacha merosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshavat chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Mikdash melech ir melucha Kumi tzei metoch ha'afecha Rav lach shevet ve'emek ha'bacha Ve'hu yachamol alaychem la. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Itna ari me'afar kumi Livshi bigdei tiftar techami Al yad ben Yishai beit halachmi Karva el nafshi ge'ala. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yadadai 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 bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri hitoreri kiva orech kumi ori uri uri shir daveri kvod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lo tevoshi ve'lo tikami ma tishtochechi u'ma hatemi bach yechezu aniei ami ve'niftair atila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala bnei Shabbat nekabela. Ve'ayu
שטחה שוסייך ורחקו כל מבלייך יסיס עלייך אלוהייך כמסוס חתן הקלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה ימין ושמאל תפרוצי ואת אדוני תריצי על יד ישבך בין פרצי ונשמחה ונגילה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלתו אמונה עם סגולה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לקראת קלה פני שבת נקבלה
Okay. Please be seated, everyone. It's always fun to watch the reactions for anyone who's never seen that before and trying to figure out what's going on. But I felt it was especially important this Shabbat that you remember that some of the tradition still holds, right? Some of the things you guys began all those years ago are still happening. Although we weren't sure if it was going to survive the pandemic, right? When we came back the first Shabbos, I wasn't sure. But it's a dancing congregation. As we found our seats, and we turn now to page 140, 140, Psalm 92, again, page 140.
מזמור שיר ליום השבת מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון וכינור להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון וכינור מזמור שיר ליום השבת מזמור שיר ליום השבת טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך עליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות עלי עשור ועלי נבל עלי היגיון ציון וכינור, להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשר ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון וכינור.
Now rise in body or in spirit for the Chatzi Kaddish on page 144. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah ve'almad yivrachirutei ve'amlich machutei
v'chayechonu yomechon u'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bagala ובזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבא מברך לעולם ולעולמי עלמיה יתברך. יתברך וישתבח ויתבר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה לילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה תמירן בעלמה ואמרו Amen. Remain standing for the Baruch Hu on page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Please be seated. We turn now to page 148. We'll read together in English at the bottom of the page. Blessed are you, Adonai, our God, ruler of the universe, who speaks the evening into being, skillfully opens the gates, thoughtfully alters the time and changes the seasons, and arranges the stars in their heavenly courses according to plan. You are creator of day and night, rolling light away from darkness and darkness from light, transforming day into night and distinguishing one from the other. Adonai Tzvaot is your name. Ever-living God, may you reign continually over us into eternity. Blessed are you, Adonai, who brings on ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם ועד Baruch atah Adonai Ha'ma'ariv Aravi.
Amen. We'll turn now to page 150 and we'll read together in English towards the bottom of the page. Everlasting love you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthen our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel.
כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו ובהם נגע יומם ולילה ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Please join us on page 154.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, Adonai Elohechem Emet. Let's read together on the top of page 157. Standing on the parted shores of history, we still believe what we were taught before ever we stood at Sinai's foot, that wherever we go, it is eternally Egypt, that there is a better place, a promised land, that the winding way to that promise passes through the wilderness, that there is no way to get from here to there except by joining hands and marching together. As we turn to page 158.
מלכותך ראו בניך, חוקי הים לפני משה ומרים, זה אלינו ואמרו, זה אלינו ואמרו, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. ונאמר כי פדה אדוני את יעקב וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני גאל 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 ישראל.
Turn now to Hashkivenu on page 160.
השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו שומרנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו ובואנו לחיים ולשלום מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני אלוהינו לשלום, בהעמידנו שומרנו לחיים.
Blessed are you, Adonai, guardian of Israel, whose shelter of peace is spread over us, over all your people Israel, and over Yerushalayim. We turn to page 162, Vishamru at the very top of the page.
ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת, שבת ויהי נפש.
We'll now rise in body or spirit for the Amidah, which begins on page 164. As always, we'll begin together, and then from that point on, continue silently. As always, please go at your own pace, and when you're finished, at the end, if you're standing, you may be seated.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומה, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
As we turn to page 371 to offer our Misha Berach, our healing prayer for this evening, I invite us all to take a few moments of silent prayer to think of the people connected most directly to you tonight, who you are praying for, and also, as always, to make a little bit of space to pray for those outside of your inner circle. The world is in need of a lot of healing. So just take a few moments for yourself. We'll join together in the middle of page 371.
May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imoteinu mekor habracha lavoteinu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
So the question, of course, is how do you introduce the person who needs no introduction? And by way of that, I'll say our, can't even say guest speaker tonight, our Rabbi Emeritus, returning to this pulpit, to this place, which admittedly has changed a little bit since you guys left, but I hope will feel very much at home. But in his humility, he said, you don't have to introduce me or anything like that, but I want to, because I want to point out some of the things that our Rabbi Emeritus has done,
and as over the weekend goes, that we've not just our Rabbi Emeritus, but his whole family has done, in which we're going to hear, but to understand what it means to have the kind of impact that he has had in his career, to have built things, not just to build them, but precisely to do what we have been doing for the last 9 years, right? Is to continue and to build upon. This is Rabbi Leon Morris. This is his life's work. His teaching, his leading, his building, his growing, his loving, and of course, is that beautiful Judaism that comes from the very heart of his soul, that all of you, all of us, were privileged to have for so many years in this place. So by way of introduction, Rabbi Leon Morris is the president of Pardes, an open, inclusive, diverse, and intellectually challenging Jewish learning community based in Yerushalayim, with programs indeed worldwide. Rabbi Morris was the founding director of the Skirball Center for Adult Jewish Learning at Temple Emmanuel in New York City, now the Emmanuel Stryker Center, and also served as a vice president for Israel programs at the Shalom Hartman Institute, and was a faculty member of the Hebrew Union College Jewish Institute of Religion as well. But of course, he's best known around these parts as our Rabbi Emeritus, and the first full-time rabbi in the history of our beloved community. Rabbi Morris was ordained from HUC-JIR in 1997, where he was a Wexner Graduate Fellow. He has worked extensively with the Jewish community of India, beginning in 1990 when he served as a Jewish Service Corps volunteer for the American Joint Distribution Committee. He was also a Mandel Fellow, and Leon has also taught in every conceivable environment, Orthodox, conservative, reform institutions, and is a regular contributor to the Jewish, US, and Israeli press. He is an editor of the Reform High Holiday Machzor that we proudly have and have had since before anyone else really got a chance to see it, Mishkan HaNefesh, and is a contributor to Jewish theology in our time, an incredible book. A New Generation explores the foundations and future of Jewish belief. It is my privilege, my honor to welcome my friend, our teacher, Rabbi Leon Morris. Anything, I'll be right there. And adjust as needed.
Thank you so much. It's very moving and emotional and wonderful to be back. And I want to start by just acknowledging what a wonderful feeling it is to be succeeded by a rabbi of such warmth and talents and openness. And you're very privileged, you're very gifted to have Rabbi Dan as your rabbi. And it's been very powerful for me to follow the way in which this congregation has continued to thrive and to grow. And Cantor Kevin was one of our star students at the Pardes Institute of Jewish Studies in Jerusalem. And that's a beautiful connection of how small the world is. We had the pleasure of having Kevin just several years ago at Pardes. And I want to acknowledge how amazing it is that you're also benefiting from the leadership of Shelley, who we've been fans of for many, many years. And to return to this space, we have been talking. I remember the first conversation that we had with Ronald and Joe Carroll Lauder in the parking lot on Rosh Hashanah afternoon about what it might be like if we were able to restore this historic sanctuary and build a proper space for the school, for classes, for fellowship, for the kinds of experiences that we'll have tonight. And kol hakavod to all of you for your participation in realizing that dream of at least 2 decades, and to the Lauders for their leadership in making that possible. And I should just say as an aside that I had been coming here as the summer rabbi for 11 years, and the first person who planted what I thought was just a preposterous idea that I leave Manhattan and come with my family and live in Sag Harbor was Ronald Lauder. And it took me a couple of years to for the idea that I sort of rejected initially to really grow on me. And to be here as a family. Both of our daughters, Yael and Shalva, were born here. Tamir, you remember as that little boy running up on the bima to try to steal the microphone from his Abba. And it's very moving for me to be back here with them. The blessing that one says when it's been a long time since friends have seen one another is Baruch Atah Adonai Mechayeh HaMeitim. Blessed are you, O God, who revives the dead. And that's the bracha. And seeing you here, after our family made Aliyah 9 years ago, and I was back 8 years ago, seeing you all together here after so long revives my spirit. And at the same time, that blessing seems appropriate because I'm aware of all of those who we've lost over the last 9 years. And I had the opportunity to visit the cemetery this morning and to see the monuments of pillars of our community and friends, people for whom it's very hard to imagine this synagogue without them. Yehi Zichram Baruch, may their memory be a blessing. Our family, probably like many others in Israel, we have a new routine on Saturday nights. We say Havdalah, the prayer separating the Sabbath from the rest of the week. We do the dishes that we neglected during Shabbat. And then we set out for the protest outside the president's house. And it's been energizing to be part of this protest movement, the longest and the largest protest movement in Israel's history. And everyone, particularly over the last few months, has been writing about the growing distance between the US and Israel, among Americans in general, among members of Congress, and particularly among American Jews. And yet there is a connection that we might not have fully appreciated or taken notice of, which is namely the growing polarization between right and left in Israel and here in America. Micha Goodman, one of Israel's leading public intellectuals, has noted that there are two constitutional instincts which have been unleashed and are clashing with one another. Those Israelis that want to be empowered through government versus those Israelis who want to be protected from government. And he writes, I think that's what's happening in the streets of Jerusalem and Tel Aviv and all over Israel, the constitutional clash that's happening. But he says there's something far deeper. From the right in Israel, we have years of pent-up frustration, of feeling marginalized, of feeling like there's an elite that is making all the decisions. Sounds familiar, right? And from the left, we have a great deal of anxiety. Micha Goodman writes that 2023 was the year where the frustration of the right started clashing with the built-up anxiety of the left. The right is all about the resentment of the past, and the left is about the fear of the future. I don't need to describe to you the polarization that continues to become more and more pronounced in American life. This week's Torah portion, Re'eh, provides a brief description of a ritual that Moses and God tells the people and Moses relays that's to be performed in the land of Israel when the Israelites enter the land of Israel. It's a ritual that includes a series of blessings and curses, which are declared aloud. When the eternal your God brings you into the land that you're about to enter and possess, you shall pronounce the blessing at Mount Gerizim and the curse at Mount Eval. Both are on the other side of the Jordan River, beyond the west road that is in the land of the Canaanites who dwell in the Arava. Now, much more detail about this ritual is described a few Torah portions from now but it's first introduced in this week's Torah portion. The curses that are detailed in a few weeks are things like, cursed be any party who makes a sculptured or molten image. Cursed be one who insults his mother or father. Kids, pay attention to this. And all the people with each of these curses, all the people say Amen. And the blessings that are spelled out are things like, blessed shall you be in the city, and blessed shall you be in the country. Blessed shall be the issue of your womb, the produce from your soil, and the offspring of your cattle. Blessed shall be your basket and your kneading bowl. And we read, sure enough, in the book of Joshua, that after the children of Israel enter the land of Israel, they perform this ritual in which the entire nation is gathered. The blessings are recited on one mountain or toward one mountain, the curses on or toward the other mountain, and all the people are saying Amen. And the Talmud goes into even greater detail about the choreography involved. And when the Talmud outlines the choreography, the most important thing to note is that the Levites, the religious leadership of the time, and the ark, which held the tablets of the Ten Commandments, they stood in the middle between these two mountains, between the mountain of curses and the mountain of blessings, between Har Gerizim and Har Eval. The role of leadership at that moment was to act as a bridge. The curses on Mount Eval and the blessings on Mount Gerizim, we see are about a religious life that stands in the middle. We're living in a time of no middle ground. There are things we can agree on, to which both sides, here and in Israel, to which both sides can say Amen. But that field, that open space between these two mountains, has grown more and more narrow and grown smaller with time. The ritual itself that's described in the Torah emphasizes what we have in common, what the values that we all share. It's important that we have places where we can come together, right and left, wealthy and poor, Jews and non-Jews. The ark is in the center. Our leadership, the Levites, are in the center. And I'm reminded from this scene of this that the Torah provides and the Talmud elucidates, I'm reminded of the 2021 Super Bowl commercial for Jeep, which you might remember, featuring Bruce Springsteen. I must have watched this commercial 20 or 30 times. There's a church in Kansas, in the exact middle spot of America, where the 48 contiguous states, what forms the middle of those 48 contiguous states. And the commercial says, all are more than welcome to come to meet here in the middle. It's no secret that the middle has been a hard place to get to lately, between red and blue, between servant and citizen, between our freedom and our fear. Now, fear has never been the best of who we are, says Bruce Springsteen. And as for freedom, it's not the property of just the fortunate few. It belongs to all of us. Whoever you are, wherever you're from, it's what connects us. And we need that connection. We need the middle. I've thought a lot about that commercial over the last 6 months in Israel and over the past few years as I followed the news back here in America. We need the middle. And I want to return to Micha Goodman for a moment. He notes that when you look at the polls, you see something very surprising in Israel. You see that most Israelis agree with each other. That while there's more hate between right and left than ever before, there is still a critical mass of agreement. The majority of Israelis are against this particular judicial reform being promoted by this government. They're against it, but they're for the idea of judicial reform. They're against doing judicial reform without a massive majority, without a national consensus. He writes, I think the cynics will determine what happens tomorrow and next week, but I think it's the optimists that will determine what will happen next year and 2 years from now. Standing in the middle doesn't have to mean that one doesn't have a clear notion of what's right or wrong. We can stand for something deeply. We must. We can take our place on each of those sides of the mountain where we find ourselves. But ultimately, we have to find enough common ground in the middle. We have to be willing to place our Ark of the Covenant in that middle. We have to be able to invite our religious leadership to occupy that middle as a way of bringing us together. So it's my hope that we can turn the curses of one mountain into the blessings of the other mountain by finding together the middle and finding there a leadership that is worthy of us and for which we are worthy of them. Shabbat Shalom.
Yasher Koach. Any chance you're doing anything in like a month or so? You want to come back and maybe give another sermon? That would be wonderful. Rabbi. Brilliant. And a brilliant start to what will be a brilliant weekend plus of learning. And learning from all of our teachers here, including our front row, what a treat it's going to be in just a little bit tomorrow to hear from Yael and Dasi and Shalva and Tamir, in addition to Rabbi Leon, about what that life is really like. We got a small taste, but Rabbi, as always, your words of Torah, inspiring, challenging, and something for us, I think, as a community, to remind ourselves of just how important it is for us to stay involved, to stay engaged, to stay educated, to stay reading, and to be thinking along with our brothers and our sisters in the land of Israel. So with all of that said, I'll invite us now to rise in body or spirit as we turn back to our Sidurim, to our prayer books, page 586. Aleinu l'shabeach at the very bottom of the page. Again, page 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל העולם. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 591.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Ask those in mourning and those observing yahrzeit to please remain standing. Everyone else may be seated at this time. We think first of those who've passed in our community in recent months. Bert Bitterman, Morty Schwatsky, Beverly Deshevsky, Jerry Goldsmith, Dr. Sam Gould, Sandy Greenwald, Dorothy Klein, Sean Leibowitz, David Lieberman, Marvin Schreier, Sandy Slip, Barbara Strasser, David Weinstein, Rita Weitzman, and Yael Zerdar. We also mark the yahrzeits that occurred during the last week for Simon Abraham, Aileen Bacon, Louis Barron, Frederick Baum, Elsie Belsky, Monroe Boehm, Jules Kornfeld, Jean Fleischman, Selma Goldman, Michael Green, Michael Green, Sidney Grossman, Lois Herr, Irving Karstein, Deirdre Klein, Sophie Klotman, Abraham Lasnik, Rachel Lewantin, Christine Nouvelle, Andrea Ruby Okino, Jack Pastor, Jim Ritvo, Dorothy Simon, Donna Toyas, Ethel Tromberg, and Jane Weisselberg. In addition to the names that we just read, if anyone else is saying Kaddish for someone that we did not mention, I'd like to mention their names now. I'll invite the mourners to join with me on page 598, and if it's your custom, you may rise at this time on page 598. Yitkadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma tivrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael ba'gala u'v'zman kariv v'yimru Amen. Yehei shemei Rabbah mevarach la'alam u'li'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru Amen. Yehei shalama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav u'yaseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'yimru Amen.
Amen.
Zichronam livracha, may every one of their memories be for a blessing. Please be seated. And now for a wonderful new thing that we are experimenting with, and a little bit of a break for the rabbi. Someone else is going to do the announcements, which is very exciting. And not just someone else, long-term board member, dear friend of the family, and all-around wonderful person, Rona Klotman, is going to come to give us some of our announcements, and we've got a lot of them. So, Rona, you ready? Feeling good? You practiced? Okay, good. You're going to do just fine. Okay.
Oh, you're not kidding.
I wasn't. Would never.
No. Okay, so I want to mention that tomorrow, Shabbat services, 10 o'clock. 12 o'clock is Torah study with Rabbi Leon Morris. And thank you to Andrea Fagan, who organized the potluck this evening in honor of Rabbi Leon Morris, Dasi, and the whole family. And thank you to everyone for their food contributions. It was a busy weekend of fabulous teaching, learning, song, and food with Rabbi Leon Morris and Dasi. Please pick up a calendar for the listing of programs with them. It's going to be a very busy weekend. Monday is Science and Religion with Rabbi Dan and guest Naomi Orekis. Topic, why should we trust science? In person and also on Zoom. Tuesday at 3 is a conversation with actor Steve Guttenberg at Temple Adas Israel. His new play is currently playing at Bay Street. And I have to say I saw it, and you should go see it. So, or come here.
Yeah.
Thursday at 5 is challah making with challah maven Chef Rachel, multi-generational program. Thursday at 7, join us for the cantorial concert with our student cantors, our own Kevin and Lauren. Next weekend, our annual Shabbaton with the Hebrew Union College with guest Dr. Rayfeld, who will be giving a sermon on Friday and Shabbat morning and leading our Torah study. Next Saturday at 6:30 is the Hamish Havdalah with Bonnie and Beth, and let them know if you will be joining them. And also, I just want to bring my own comments to this. These events can only continue to enrich our community with your continued support and contribution to the temple. So I encourage you all to give with your heart to donations to the temple. It is sorely needed. I know I myself express my gratitude for the blessings that you have received, that I have received in my life, and that's how I feel. You know, people should contribute to this temple and keep it going. So please, with your heart.
Thank you. Shabbat shalom. Shabbat shalom. And apropos of that comment and the generosity of our community, I want to thank Myron and Susan Levine, who are here with us tonight, who helped to make this weekend a possibility, and to Susan Kerr-Snyder, who's not unfortunately able to be with us tonight. But again, dear friendships lasting quite a long time at this point, over oceans. You know, these are the things that our tradition tells us are the most important. Okay, no matter what we may think, no matter what happens, those friendships are really at the very core of what make this temple so special. So all of that is to say, I hope you're hungry. I hope you're going to come and join us for our potluck, which will be downstairs. I'm not sure that you've even seen the downstairs yet. Okay, so this is also, I know this is all new for all of us. It's just truly, truly wonderful. And as Rona said, a lot of great learning throughout the rest of the weekend. So please, if you don't know, pick up a calendar, ask us questions. We'll tell you exactly where to go. But Cantor, I think we've got a closing song for tonight. We'll do Kiddush and Motzi here. And then, of course, again, welcome everybody down. And Shelly's moving in my direction, which usually means I forgot something. Oh, yes. No, do we have the printed out? Excellent, excellent. So why don't we do the closing prayer, and then Das is going to join us just a second. Great.
Fantastic. As we know, I like to connect it every week, and I got served up on a silver platter for which to choose. So page 643, Baruch Chaitz, Gesher Tzar Me'od. Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Kol ha'olam kulo, Gesher Tzar Me'od, Gesher Tzar Me'od, V'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefachet kal, v'ha'ikar, v'ha'ikar, lo lefachet kal, yalalai, yai-dai, 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 yai-dai,
So I'm going to put the whole family on the spot also. So Dasi's going to come and read a poem, but I'm wondering if I could ask maybe if you guys would do Kiddush and Motzi for us tonight. Would that be good? Awesome. Awesome. Great. So Dasi, why don't you come up, and if everybody wants to come up together, and it's yours. And you know, after all these years, we figured out the perfect place to put the wine in the challah. Well, I know, it's Josephine. That's all Josephine Gatling. That was it. Brilliant.
When I think about the religious personality or the religious character or spiritual character that we get to practice on Shabbat the most, it's love. And I think that that's also what enables us to come toward the middle and to be with people who are different from us and have different perspectives and different characters than us in community in this beautiful, beautiful shul. This is a prayer that I say every Friday night as I light candles. May my heart be an open flask, ready to hold the reality that each day brings. May I find the way to love through the struggles and the challenges, love through the unknown and the known, love through the misunderstandings and the understanding, the acceptance and rejection, love through it all. May I be blessed to collect moments of joy in my heart and mind, to fuel my gratitude and resilience. May I hold on to determination, especially in the face of despair, and may I find ways to transform my struggles into song. May we strive to be uplifted by our community, raising each other up and holding each other in laughter and in tears. May I find and listen to the still, small voice within, centering me, guiding me to connect to truth, passion, peace, meaning, and purpose. Amen.
ויהי בוקר יום שישי, ויחולו השמיים והארץ, וכל צבאם, ויחל אלוהים ביום השביעי, מלאכתו אשר עשה, וישפוט ביום השביעי מכל מלאכתו אשר עשה. ויברך אלוהים את יום השביעי, ויקדש אותו כי בו שבת מכל מלאכתו, אשר ברא אלוהים לעשות סברי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם בורא פרי הגפן. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו ורצבנו, בשבת קודשו באהבה וברצון הנחילנו, זיכרון למעשה וראשית, כי הוא יום תחילה למקראי קודש, זכר ליציאת מצרים, כי באנו בחרת ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, שבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת.
It's probably still the same bottle from when you left. But, I don't think Manischewitz bottles ever end, actually. Okay, now who's going to help us with Motzi? Shall I? You want to?
Amen.
Shabbat shalom, everyone. Okay, come down, let's go eat. Yeah, that was amazing. You were really, this is like amazing. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be here. We're going to come back here. Right? Fly back over and help us to lead some services, yeah? Good? Now I was going to say, of all your rabbis, your rabbi also would be very, very impressed, I'm sure. You're the best rabbi in the world. So how are we going to get there?
She does.
Does she?
Yeah.
I don't know. It would be very interesting, I mean, I would love to see. But I would say 90% of them on there. Exactly as I remember we were sitting in the office right now.
We'll go for a hug. We didn't say that we're housemates, you
Yeah,
know.
exactly.
We'll be in our pajamas tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
You played beautifully.
Thank you. Thank you. It's cool.